Sadness mind, make some noise! Sadness is in the house! It's anger!
Let me at him!
We gotta get our mouth guard, people.
Fear! No, that's not Alice! Disgust. Glad to have her on our team. Our little girl's growing up so fast. Ow. Sorry.
It should be nothing but smooth sailing.
Hello. I'm anxiety. Where can I put my stuff? I knew a mother.
Yes. So Inside Out 2, we saw the first one came out in 2015. Here we are 9 years later. Basically, Riley gets a little older, hits puberty, and some new emotions join the control room. And then we get our story as the new emotions feel like they have a better direction for where she should go as she molds herself to become a future better person. So this is actually a movie I was super excited about. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my initial impression. When I saw the trailer, I thought it was long overdue. The first one was actually one of my favorite Pixar movies. It may not have made me laugh out loud as much as like Monsters Inc. or some of the other ones, but I just thought that the production, the writing, everything, the thought put into it, I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal, and so it was one of my favorite movies. So I was super excited when they had the opportunity, and they said the part 2 was finally coming. I think it was long overdue. All right, so let's get everybody else's initial impressions on this one.
Well, I did get to see it, and my initial impression was excitement. I loved the first one. I was ready for the next one. Because, we started with Riley when she was only, 11 years old. It's like, as you get older, especially after you hit puberty, more emotions come into the mix. It's not always just happiness and just sad and just angry, things get more complex. So I was ready to see how they were going to take this new style in her life as, hormones start to kick in and things start to change, in her body. So I was very excited to see this one. I was dying for it.
All right, that's what's up. And how about you, Dad Panther? What was your initial impression when you found out about Inside Out 2 coming?
Excited. I wasn't nervous or scared like I was with Incredibles or some of the other movies that kind of felt like they took too long to kind of put that out. I think they did a great job making the first one a classic. And so I was excited to go ahead and watch it with the family.
That's what's up. So, Dad Panther, if you will, please start us off with your highs and lows, sir. Tell us how you felt about the movie.
Man, I'm just so happy to be here. So the highs and lows for this one, we're talking Inside Out 2. I'll go with the lows. The lows I didn't like about the movie was the story arc. The story arc isn't, without spoiling anything, isn't too much different than the main story arc that we saw in the other one. I did like how they executed it and made it feel different. But if the conversation is a third and a fourth movie, if the emotion greed comes into it, I would need to see them challenge more than just that same arc. I was not upset. I felt like they missed the opportunity to have more impactful for like fragrances or smells, as nostalgic, was kind of there. The other part about it was like music. I know they make fun of that ad and the kind of the boy band thing, but they didn't really connect how those emotions and stuff trigger. And it could be something that'll be used later on, maybe with nostalgia. So for those, I felt like on top of that, the ending and the second ending, I'm not going to spoil anything. They didn't stick the landing. And what I mean is the first ending could have happened where it should have, and it would have been perfect. But unfortunately, it kind of, set up for something else that wasn't as impactful. I will say the great things I loved about this was that the story, even though it wasn't new, it was puberty, it was finding new friends, and are you going to keep your old friends and new friends? And we've seen that like every decade, there's something like that. I loved how they made this story feel different, even though it wasn't new. I love the characters that they introduced, even the characters that weren't feelings. Again, not spoiling anything. I thought they did a great job of adding new characters. I thought they gave you a great conversational piece with anxiety, similar to last year with Joy, where the conversation, if you look at our review with Joy, I felt that Joy was an anti-hero. Joy was getting in the way of sadness, being able to do what was needed for her to understand that everyone needs to cope with their sadness. So I thought that was really cool. The details and the Easter eggs, like Sadness with the binoculars, those binoculars are the same one that the little toy that was a binocular from Toy Story, and other stuff in the background. Um, Even with that anxiety, just like the briefly breakdown, just that one character, the hair kind of spiraling out of the place is like all the thoughts. When you first see her, she comes in with all these baggage, carrying baggage. She's automatically the leader on the control panel, for the fact of anxiety normally takes that part of your brain to run with it. And so it's just really cool to see that detail that they put into each character once again. And I just think that it was a really well executed movie, and that even the little ones, what I couldn't talk to the last one, my daughter who's 5 turning 6, she actually enjoyed the movie, and she was able to make an understanding of the various emotions and pick out her favorites.
Wow, phenomenal movie. That's what's up. That's what's up. So
And that
the
is
fact,
Dan Panther's Symposium about Inside Out.
mm,
Like and
absolutely.
subscribe.
Yeah. So the fact that you actually got your daughter to sit down and enjoy it, I know we talked about the previous one. I don't know if she was able to watch that, but that was one of the things I tried to get my daughter into watching it, and even now she's about to be 11. She's not interested in it, so I'm kind of jealous that you got to enjoy that, because I really enjoyed the movie and I would have loved to watch it with my daughter. But I am going to see her for her birthday next month. I told her we're going to the movies no matter what, but I am going to let her choose the movie. But if she can't choose, then we will be watching it.
No, it's funny because one of the things that she does is she like discuss. So she's walking around the house, and it's an extra little bit of attitude on everything. It's like, I don't want bagels. And I'm like, you know what? If we don't hurry up and finish this, I'm gonna give you a new feeling. So yeah. Thanks, Pixar.
Oh, the old school parenting. You can't get up from the table till you finish eating. All right. So, AB, would you like to give us a little bit more insight on your perspective of the movies, your highs and lows?
Well, I'll just go ahead and give my highs and lows and just an overall breakdown of the movie. Not going to be too long because Dad Panther did it. You did it, man. Um, for the most part, I'll just go ahead and just say my highs is exactly it's a Pixar movie. Everybody, it's always going to be good. It's always going to be well written. It's going to go ahead and convey every little thing to be a classic animated movie. So definitely check it out. Now my lows on this movie, my low that just basically is almost in the same vein as Dad Panther, is basically it suffers sequelitis. That's the best way I can call it. It's like Shrek, because it's like the Shrek movie series and the Star Wars series, that they always have to always there's always a MacGuffin, and the journey every single time, and they went through the same forest, the same area. They didn't take the time to widen the emotional spectrum that's inside of this teenager. I would have thought that they probably would have had more of the, because they showed a few of the representations of Joy's little section of the world, and Angry's, and Disgust and Fear's little section, and they have like little areas that take care of a few things. So I was expecting like a little bit more expansive, expansive and exploratorial of the entire landscape. You could see what else is inside of this girl's emotional spectrum, but hopefully we'll be seeing that more in Inside Out 2. I mean 3. But yes, overall this was a great movie. I would definitely emphasize everybody to go ahead and see it. Adults, go to a matinee. If you have some kids, don't matter, just take them anytime you want to take them.
AB, I feel like you're vying for a job with Disney Pixar, man. You're already talking about the third one. You already started the campaign before they've even announced it. I feel like you trying to get a job with them or something. What's going on?
Hey, if I get a job, I'll go ahead and slide them your way for reviews. Bump that.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, Iris, how about you? Please, your highs and lows.
Okay, so for lows, I'm gonna go in a little bit of a different direction from the rest. Um, Biggest low is that I feel like Joy, after the first movie, I feel like in the second movie you think she would have already learned her lesson. Um, in regards to Sadness, And I feel like with these new emotions, it was just the same behavior that she showed towards sadness in the first one. She showed toward the new group. Um, I feel like that part was very repetitive. It's like, hey, you already learned that your emotions, you guys need to combine together. It's not only always going to be sadness, it's not only always going to be happiness. You know, it's going to be a combination of you guys to make all these different memories together. And I feel like even though we kind of know who our antagonist is, I feel like Joy really contributed to the issue. If she would have approached it better, I don't think we would have seen some of the problems that we saw. And but then again, there wouldn't have been a movie. But that was the biggest low for me. I don't feel that, you know, I feel like everything you went through before, it's like you didn't learn the second time around. Like, come on. Now for my highs, I would have to say that I really enjoyed how they depicted anxiety. For me being a sufferer of anxiety myself, I feel like what it feels like inside of your mind. Um, and it really resonated with me. I got a little teary. That was actually one of my biggest highs for the movie. Um, I don't know. I guess I felt really connected to that particular character because she was very hyper as well. So I was like, okay, she's anxiety, but she also has ADHD, it seems like. So I felt like it was like a little me just running around. And it's funny because my mom was like, "Oh my God, that's so you right there." I was like, "Thanks, mother." Um, so I would say being able to connect with that, that was one of the biggest highs that I was able to find something that was very relatable. And another high for me is I loved nostalgia. I thought that was the cutest little character ever. And then I love how they just sprinkled her in here and there. You know, she wasn't really a big character in the movie, but it was so cute, so cute. Um, and I like that in the end, you know, Joy, you know, finally ends up learning a lesson. You know, um, which would also contribute to my low as well because I feel like it's the same lesson she originally learned anyway. So I kind of have mixed emotions in regards to that. But that was really my only highs and lows of the movies, the ones that really stood out to me.
All right, that's what's up. So, question for you, Iris. And I'm
Yeah.
just want to know your thoughts. Like, do you
Mhm.
think that maybe Joy is kind of not really remembering the lesson learned because as the kid gets older and matures, they're maturing as well? You think that maybe the emotion, like Joy, is actually growing with the child? So, like, there's gonna be some immaturity there. Do you think that they actually are trying to do that with the emotions, or no?
I mean, that's a very good view. I mean, I actually that's probably a possibility because as you see into the minds of the parents, you see how they have the similar main emotions, but how more mature they are. Well, not really the dad 100%, but more of the mom. You see how mature, you know, the emotions do get. And of course, they're connected to Riley. They are what helped make Riley. So yes, I can see it being like, hey, as they mature, you know, they will. Um, but I just get with Joy sometimes, I get hints of selfishness with her.
Hmm.
And I mean, I can understand that going hand in hand because sometimes when you're just so focused on your own joy,
Right.
you have blockers on everyone else because you're only worried about your happy.
Yeah.
Um, so I could definitely see why joy can have some selfish attributes. And sometimes it's just so hard for her to realize, like, OMG, I'm fucking up again.
Yeah.
You know, it can't always just be happy. And I think the biggest thing that resonated with me is when Joy came out along the lines and said, maybe, you know, as you
Don't
get
spoil
older,
nothing now.
as you,
Don't spoil nothing now.
oh,
All right. All right.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah,
I will say this though. I think what you said actually kind of is going to help me make my point. You know, when we deal with children, all they care about is what they want and their happiness. You know, what they want, even when you know, take away, it's like, but I want that now. You know, I want that now. They want to always have fun, and you're like, no, it's time to be quiet. We're sitting, you know, we're in public, and it's always about whatever pleases them. That's their focus. So it makes sense that Joy, that's just the beeline for her. So it would seem selfish because young kids don't really understand, like, hey, read the room, or this is not the appropriate place, or hey, there's a time and place for playing. Kids need to learn that over time if you're doing your parenting and beating your kids. Anyway, so
Don't
anyway,
sneak
so
that in
anyway.
there. Don't sneak that in there.
Anyway.
Also, I just want to say that was a great point. That was a great point. That was a great point that you said. But the thing that I'm thinking about as well is it goes into what you're both saying. Remember, there's a certain part where she's doing something with the core memories, and as adults, you can hear us in the whole audience go like, "Oh, that's gonna be something. You can't do that. You can't." But the kids did. They're like, "This is fun. Do it." And so yeah, so it was a good call out. There you go. Good job.
All right.
Except
So
except for that part.
Okay. All right. So it'll pop up on the screen a subliminal message.
I wanna
Anyway,
go more in depth on this movie, you guys.
I mean, we could always have a backlog conversation.
Yes.
Oh,
All
get
right,
the
so-
switch.
Let's go ahead and rate this thing. JS1, are you still with us?
So yes,
He's
sir.
alive.
if you don't
Is he
mind,
s-
please, can you?
Is it a classic? Is it a good watch? Is it catch on streaming? Is it not doing it for me? Is it
Oh hell no!
or if you ever show me this ever again, I will. Alrighty then.
All right, AB, let's start with you, sir. What's your rating for this movie?
I would say it's a good watch. It's
Ooh.
close to, it's almost to a classic for me, but because it did the sequelitis thing, that was, and we've seen it in a bunch of movies, from Kung Fu Panda to Shrek and everything, and then they just realized we need to expand this world. When they do that, it'll go up, it'll creep up to there, because I know there's probably a director's cut probably coming soon for Disney Plus.
All right. So a good watch from AB. That's a fair rating. Fair rating. Iris, what are you feeling?
I would have to say a good watch as well for it. I mean, I do agree on how AB called it the sequelitis. And of course, you know, I just feel like with Joy not learning her lesson the first time around, it's like it made that part a little redundant, you know, but it was a really good watch.
Okay. And the Dad Panther, what are you feeling, man? What's your rating?
I believe even with the fact that Joy isn't reacting the way that you may think she is, it's just showing our maturity of a kid movie that will be talked about in college classes, just like the last one was. I'm gonna call this a classic. A classic. You look at what's going on with anxiety. For someone like me that's high functioning with high anxiety, and I pull it off as if it's the easiest thing ever, even though I'm overthinking. There were key moments in that movie where I was like, they're talking to me, and it was an eye-opening experience. So with that being said, you go to the movies for an emotion. They got the emotion.
Yes. So for me, even though I did not give a review, I did see it, and I agree with everything you guys are saying to a certain extent. But mine, I still have to give it a classic. All right.
It's a draw. What are you talking about?
I mean, my reasoning for giving it a classic is just because of the thought process that they put into the emotions and how it actually got reactions out of me. There were certain things that upset me, certain things that triggered me, certain things that made me, feel like the Dad Panther, like they was talking to me, and I was like, yo, this movie is just really, really well done. Of course, there's some opportunities for improvement, but again, it's the kids' movies and we're adults in there picking it apart. That lets you know that you got something there. If it's drawing adults in like that, I feel like it's a classic. So.
Real Reviews. New episodes every Thursday at 8 at vvclife.com.